Today, we're diving into a murder in a town that seemed, well, just a little too perfect. We're going to break down the baffling case of a town historian who was murdered in the quiet, picture-perfect community of Oakhaven.
You know, this is the very first thing Detective Elias Thorne noticed when he arrived. It wasn't the cute storefronts or the scenery. It was this heavy, unnatural silence. It felt like the entire town was holding its breath, hiding a terrible secret. And that right there is the key to this whole thing.
So, what finally shattered that quiet? The murder of the town's most beloved resident, the librarian and local historian Martha Bloom. And this wasn't just any crime. It was a puzzle, one that seemed to completely defy logic.
Okay, so here are the basics, the facts of the case. Martha Bloom, killed in her own study. The weapon, a pretty unique one, an antique letter opener. But get this, these are the details that really matter. No signs of a break-in, and nothing, not a single thing, was stolen. That told investigators right away this wasn't a robbery. This was personal.
And that led everyone to the big, nagging question. If Martha let her killer in, how on earth did they get out of there completely unseen? How did they make it look like an impossible crime had been committed? Let's really break down this evidence, because it's a real head-scratcher. On one hand, you've got no forced entry, which pretty much screams that Martha knew her killer, that she let them right in. But then you've got this open second-story window that looks out over a sheer ravine, an impossible escape. The two facts just didn't line up, creating this perfect classic locked room mystery.
To crack this case, Detective Thorne knew he had to look beyond the crime scene. He had to understand the town itself. And Oakhaven? Well, it was a place that cared about its perfect image more than anything, even when there was a killer on the loose.
So on the surface, the whole town looked like it was grieving together. I mean, every single shop had these handwritten signs in the windows, talking about their sorrow. But underneath all that, Thorne could feel this deep, secret fear. People weren't just sad, they were scared. Scared of what this investigation might uncover. And this right here just shows you what was really going on. Publicly, you have the powerful Granger family, the mayor and his son, leading the town in mourning. But in private conversations, Thorne noticed that if you brought up Oakhaven's history, the room would go dead silent. It was so clear that there were secrets this town was absolutely desperate to keep buried.
It turns out, the key to breaking Oakhaven's silence wasn't going to come from talking to people. Nope, the real clues were hiding in plain sight, right there in the victim's study, mixed in with the very history she was trying to write.
All right, the first big break in the case, and it's a doozy. The murder weapon itself turns out to be a priceless family heirloom belonging to the Grangers. Now, when the police asked them about it, they had this, let's say, convenient story that it was stolen years ago. But this discovery put the family right at the heart of the investigation.
Then, tucked away in the margins of Martha's manuscript for her book, Thorne finds this little bombshell of a note, a planned confrontation with T.G., Thomas Granger, just a few days before she was killed. Suddenly, this changes everything, right? Martha isn't just some passive victim anymore. She was an active player in a really high-stakes game.
And if that wasn't enough, they found the final piece of the puzzle, the smoking gun, a hidden diary. And in its pages, Martha wrote about uncovering a terrible truth that she knew could ruin one of Oakhaven's most prominent families. She was right on the edge of exposing something massive.
So, what was this terrible truth? What kind of secret could be worth killing over? Well, all the clues were pointing to something buried deep in the town's founding, a secret that was the real source of the Granger family's power and the whole town's wealth. And this is it, the secret Martha had found. She actually called it the Great Deception. What happened was, generations ago, the founding Grangers had illegally and secretly seized control of the region's main water source. They basically built their entire fortune and the town's whole economy on a complete lie.
And listen, the stakes here could not have been higher. This wasn't just some dusty old secret. If Martha published her book, the Granger family name would be disgraced. The town's economy could actually collapse, and Adam Granger's promising political career, it would be destroyed, gone. This was way more than a motive, this was a recipe for pure desperation.
Okay, so now Thorne has the motive. A huge motive. So he goes back to that impossible crime scene, looking at the evidence again, and suddenly it all clicks into place. He'd been looking at it all wrong.
This was the big aha moment.
That open window, it wasn't a clue at all. It was misdirection, a trick. It was a piece of theater, staged to create an unsolvable puzzle and send the police off chasing some phantom killer who could scale cliffs in the middle of the night. And this is how Detective Thorne laid it all out. Adam Granger, with his entire future on the line, went to confront Martha. Of course, she let him in. They argued. He pleaded with her, but she refused to back down. In a moment of sheer panic, he saw that family letter opener, a symbol of their entire stolen legacy, and he used it. Then, to cover his tracks, he staged the impossible crime scene with the window, before just walking out the front door.
And when Thorne confronted him with this logical, step-by-step chain of events, Adam Granger just broke. His confession says it all, really. It reveals the tragic heart of the crime. It wasn't about malice or hate, but a desperate, panicked act to protect a family legacy that was built on a lie.
With that confession, Oakhaven's perfect image was shattered for good. The monster wasn't some stranger who climbed through a window. It was one of their own, the son of their most powerful family. The town's heavy silence didn't go away. It just changed from a held breath to a sad, mournful sigh for a truth they could no longer run from.
So this whole case really leaves us with a tough question, doesn't it? Martha Bloom paid for the truth with her life, and Adam Granger paid for it with his freedom. But what about the town of Oakhaven? The cost of finally facing a history built on a lie? Well, that's a debt they'll be paying for generations.